Good afternoon, fourth graders, and welcome to our Monday writing lesson. Today we're going to talk about checking for story elements in our stories. So you guys should be pretty close to done with your stories, and so you should be going back through and editing to make sure you have everything that you need. So our goal today is to go back and see which story elements we have in our story and what we may need to add when we publish our story. So you guys are going to be turning that in on Friday, October 2nd. And so you guys need to be going back through and making sure that you have everything there so you can get the best grade possible. Let's think about what our story needs. Throughout this unit, we have worked on adding many different features to our stories. And through these next few days, we're going to take time to make sure our story has all the features it needs in a realistic fiction story. This is the actual rubric that we are going to be using to grade your writing assignments. And so you're going to be aiming for a 4. 1 is the lowest and 4 is the highest. So looking at the genre, meaning that it's realistic fiction, if you are aiming for a 4, your story should contain characters, a setting, and a plot that are very realistic and could truly happen in real life. For story structure, if you own a 4, the story planning should be visible in your writing. It should flow from one event to the next without a lot of confusion, and the story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. Looking at the beginning specifically, the beginning should draw the readers, which are your teachers right now, should draw them in and introduce the main character and their problem. For the problem in the story needs to be clearly stated and developed using 2 supporting details. So if you want a 4, your problem should be developed with 2 supporting details. And then the ending or the solution of your story needs to make sense and does not come out of nowhere. The reader's questions or our questions when we're reading your story should be answered in the end. The setting, if you want a 4, the setting should be stated, described, and developed using at least 3 of the 5 senses. And then for your character development, the main character needs to be named, described, and developed using physical characteristics and personality traits. So here's a little checklist we have of features we need in our realistic fiction stories. And so we're going to go through and look at Mr. Hoffman's story and show where all of these are in his story. So first, with the beginning that introduces the character, remember that this should be a scene that shows who the character is, and it also introduces us to the setting. So the opening scene in Mr. Hoffman's story is the one where Will drops his lunch tray in the cafeteria and leaves out of embarrassment. So we meet Will and we see that he's in the cafeteria at his school. And then the characters in Mr. Hoffman's story, the main character is Will, and then the other characters that actually talk in the story are TJ, Brian, and Terrence. In the setting, as we kind of talked about a couple slides ago, there's the cafeteria where it starts, and then there's the classroom, and then recess. And the time of, the setting where it is, and then the time, we know it's during the school day because he's in class and he's had lunch and he's at recess as well. And the problem for the main character is that Will is a clumsy student who doesn't really fit in. Other students make fun of him and he messes up during a basketball game at recess, and the other students are really angry with him for messing up. The resolution or the ending are where Will and TJ play wall ball, and Will is really good at the game, and so other students want to play with him. Then Mr. Hoffman also included some lessons, like we've been talking about last week, lessons that the readers can learn or themes in his story. One possible theme is everyone is good at different things. And then another one is to forgive and show kindness. So your job today is continue working on your story and use the list that we talked about during this lesson to help you check your work and guide it and help you make changes or add anything. And as you work on your story, you need to make sure you have all the different parts that we listed. You can actually go check off those parts that we listed. And then you're going to submit the ending to your story today. So the ending you worked on Friday, you're going to be submitting that today. And remember, your full story is going to be published this Friday, October 2nd.